Welcome to the JCPod. I'm your host, Jaden Chandler Parnell, and hey, it's been a while, people. How we all doing? But hey, how about the Miami Heat? A lot of talk about today. NBA Finals are set. Hey, in NFL football news, we got a lot to get into. So without any further ado, like we like to do, we're just gonna hop right in. And hey, the Miami Heat. It only took them 7 games, but after being up 3-0. But hey. We finally did it. The Miami Heat are moving on. They are your Eastern Conference Finals champions, and they are now going to play the Denver Nuggets in the finals. Truly, honestly, this is probably one of the most confusing series I've ever watched as a fan. You drew up 3-0 in utter domination of the series. You think the series is going to be over, and out of nowhere, Boston wins one game. Honestly, after Game 3, I thought the Celtics were done. They got the soul crushed out of them. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they turned into the elite elimination game Celtics, and then they win Game 4, 5, and 6. And all of a sudden, after Game 6, I haven't seen you guys sent to shoot me for the yawn. After Game 6, when Derek White that tip in, I'm like, man, don't get me wrong. There was a minute where I'm like, man, was that the Heat's best chance to do it? Man, they might be done, man. They might just be done. And then I sat on it for a day. This is me being 100% honest. I probably gave up on them a little bit on, when was that? Whenever they played, I guess Saturday. But the more I sat there, the more I kind of realized, hey, man, they played awful. They almost won by 1. The fact that they almost even won the game was kind of a miracle. That's a good sign. And then I was hoping, another thing that I noticed, I went on StatMuse, shout out, and I just looked some stuff up in the Celtics. I want to see it. Celtics haven't won 4. They had a 4-game winning stretch about January 23rd, and up until that point, they did not. Past January 23rd, that little stretch they had when they won 4 games, they didn't win 4 games the whole rest of the season. So that's I know it's not playoffs, it's not playing the same team, but that's something to definitely look at for sure. I was looking, it's all right, they have not won more than 4 games in a row before, so that's a good sign. And I'm sitting here, it's man, the Heat are not going to be a part of history. I'm it's really hard to beat a team 4 times in a row. And it's do the Heat really want to be a part of history? Everything they said after the game kind of gave me some confidence. Jimmy played terrible. If he even plays a little bit better than that, they'll be good. And then, sure enough, that leads into the Celtics game that happened last night. So, to the point about Tip, I'm sitting there, it's you know what? I think the Heat actually have a decent chance to do this. They can't play any worse. They're on the road, and for whatever reason, truly against the Celtics and the Heat the last few years, the road team just dominates. It's just one of those things. It's just really weird. The road team just dominates. By dominates, they've just been winning more. The Heat were 5-5 at home. I think over these last 2 or 3 series, going back to last year, the Celtics have been nothing spectacular at home either. Yeah, it's just one of those things where going into the game, it's all right, let's see what's happening. Let's see what happens. Game 7. 3 teams have only made it here before. The Heat don't want to be on the side of history, right? We ain't going to be on this side of history. And then sure enough, I play. But no, sure enough, very early on, Tatum rolled his ankle, and it looked pretty serious. It's oh, no. The second he did it, it was first play. He rolled his ankle, you watch, it's ooh, man, that looked like it hurt a little bit. And sure enough, come to find out, it hurt. That ankle, there's a little bit where it didn't bother him, and then this was, something I noticed. The first time he went out, when Tatum went out, after, I want to say it was 4 or 5 minutes. Tatum went out 4 or 5 minutes after he rolled his ankle. Sorry, I just grabbed water. Tatum went out 4 or 5 minutes after he rolled his ankle. And they sat on the bench, and the announcer's oh, he's not getting any treatment on his ankle. That might be a good sign. And the first thing for me, I'm sitting there, it's man, why is he not getting his ankle looked at? You probably should. But no, honestly, I'm sitting here man, you probably should get the look at whatever, let it be. And then the Heat ended up just winning by whatever it was. I think they ended up winning by 20. Shot Boston out of their own gym. Something personally, if I was a Boston fan last night, I was very frustrated. I would have been very frustrated with the shots they were taking. They took some bad shots, bro. I'm talking, there were some bad threes they were taking. It felt like they were just trigger happy to shoot from 3, which was really weird, man. I did not think they were going to be, I thought the game was going to be a little bit closer. I thought there was a chance, I thought the blowout might go the other way. I didn't think the Heat were going to do the blowing out, but I think you could tell the pressure got to Boston a little bit. They didn't seem fully there, and then I think when I started to get the most confidence when they started running plays for Derek White, Consider, like, don't get me wrong, I think Derek White's a decent player and everything, but it's like, man, you guys aren't running plays for Tatum or Brown, you're running plays for Derek White. It's like, okay. And that's about when the game was like an 8-point game. Yeah, basically, I think, and then I think the shot that was, before they go into half, Tatum basically just dribbled it out, and then he took a kind of bad pull-up three. Like, even if it went in, I did not like the shot. He basically dribbled out the clock, didn't try to drive, which I get because his ankle's hurt, but he didn't try to get a better shot. He just kind of sat there, dribble, pulled up for three, and then they were down 54-41. And yeah, going in the second half, more of the same. Miami started to put the pressure on a little bit. Caleb Martin, man. I can't believe we're this far in. I haven't said anything about him yet. Caleb Martin had the series of his life. If truly, I think if basketball wasn't political, it would be, he easily should have got the Eastern Conference MVP award. I mean, obviously they're going to give it to Jimmy for what he's done this playoff run, which I think, don't get me wrong, I think Jimmy deserves it as well. But if we're going strictly for Eastern Conference Finals MVP, it should have been Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin had himself an amazing, amazing series. As the announcer says, that dude's going to get a bag. I mean, he's going to get some money this offseason. He played simply amazing. I hope the Heat are able to keep him because he has been, you want to talk about diamonds in the rough. They're talking about all the undrafted players, all this. I mean, he has been amazing. And it's just crazy the Hornets just let him go. I made the joke with my boy Rowan. I can't remember if it was on this podcast or not. I said, hey, do you think the Hornets thought they had the wrong Martin brother? Like, because, I mean, seriously, they just let this guy go. The Hornets just let this guy go. He ends up coming to the Heat. Now, it could be one of those things, for example, like Tyler Johnson all those years ago. You know, he's decent for the Heat, and all of a sudden he signs a big deal, goes to the Nets, and then he's out of the league by the time his contract's up. Like, it could just be one of those things. But, man, I tell you what, Caleb Martin, the confidence he's playing with and everything, that is simply, simply amazing, man. So, like I said, last night was awesome. I mean, the Heat, it got to the point the Heat were able to answer back every second they needed to. The Celtics just did not shoot that well last night again, and that when they don't shoot well from three, that tends to happen. Marcus Smart did not hit nearly as many threes as he did the last few games, which he finally came back down to earth. That's what I was waiting for when I was watching the series. I'm like, man, is Marcus Smart going to come back down to earth? He's just going to hit every three he pulls. Like, I've watched this dude for years now, and I know he's not I know he's decent, but he's no marksman. He was hitting him like he was a marksman, so him finally missing was night. Derek White, after he missed his first two, he finally hit one. But after he missed some of his first two, I'm like, oh, okay, the pressure might got to him a little bit. Like, I was sitting there during the game, I'm like, there is no way that Derek White's just not, because he was talking for a pregame. They had him on the pregame show. And they were all, like, I'll be honest, they were, like, basically hyping up. They're like, oh, how'd you feel after the shot? How'd you feel after this? And it was, and you could just tell, I mean, by the way, I'm not trying to trash the guy at all. He made a game-winning shot. He deserves all this. But you could just tell, like, one thing, they were blowing himself so much. I wonder if he's going to be able to play, like, amazing. He still had a good game. Don't get me wrong. Derek White had a good game and basically did decent for what was out there, for what he did out there. Let me see his points-wise. I think he might have led the team. Tatum had 14, White had 18, Brown had 19. So, I mean, he's second leading scorer. Jaylen Brown had an awful game. 8 turnovers. The crowd was booing him at one point after one of his turnovers. He did not have the best of games at all. But, yeah, back to, like, my White point. I just mean, that's just one of those things where I'm like, hey, he's, like I said, he finished with 18, but I'm like, there's no way he's going to shoot the three like he did last game. And sure enough, he shot at 2 for 9. Horford was 2 for 5. Brown was 1 for 9. Smart 1 for 6, Tatum 1 for 6, Williams 1 for 3, Brogdon 0 for 2, Hauser 0 for 2, and then Muscala at the end of the game hit his one. Like, they could not buy a three. And it's just one of those things, like, they just kept shooting. Like, that's what honestly got them out of the game. They just kept jacking up threes. They missed a three. They would try to shoot another one, get a better shot, and it's just thankfully Miami was able to hit their mid-ranges this game. Bam didn't play the best, but he was able to play just well enough defensively and do enough to keep, thankfully they didn't need Bam too much. They needed Bam this game. It might have scared me a little bit just because he's missing some gimmies. He's missing some bunnies. It was just weird. I think they just need to get out of that series. But shout out to the Miami Heat, man. They are going to be playing. With the win, 103-84 now, they are going to be playing the Denver Nuggets. And if you've seen, man, on the scroll bar, we've had it going for a while. Really, really awesome to finally cashed. I might have lost a little bit on Miami Heat game 3, 4, 5, but overall, man, Miami Heat game 4, 5, 6, but man, I won't lie, it's been a blast. Can't even put in the words how nice this betting season has been for me when it comes to the Miami Heat. I'm in shock. I really didn't think they would I just can't believe it got this far, honestly. Like, an 8 seed that was a 1 seed last year that just didn't play the best. Yeah, sorry, I was just doing the math real quick. That's why it sounded a little weird. Yeah, just to say, this run's been really kind to me. But overall, man, it's really, really awesome. Now this leads into, if you saw one of my futures, it leads into Heat versus Nuggets now. I'm debating. I might do a show with my boy before. I'm either gonna do a show with my boy before the game one on Wednesday, or I might maybe do like a small breakdown after the first 2 games. We'll see. Overall, I mean, I might not at all either too. It's one of those things even as a Heat fan, don't get me wrong. Now that the Heat are here, I think they have a chance to do it. But the run the Nuggets been on, I'm not. Let's just put it in the words. I'm not stupid. I get how. I'm not like the rest of the media that's like, oh, hey, there's this guy over here in Denver. No. I've been watching Denver. I think I had Denver to win the finals before I even put the Heat down to win the finals. Like, it's one of those things. Yeah, I'm just excited to watch the series. I should be making money regardless on whoever wins it. I think it's about like 500-ish if the Heat win, about 150 if the Nuggets win. I'll probably try to find a way to stretch the Nuggets and if I can find some good odds to make more of it. But yeah, I'm pumped, man. I think this series is probably going to go about 6-ish. Would not be shocked if the Nuggets won in 6. Would be awesome to see if the Heat won, but it's one of the things, man. I'm a realist. I'm happy I got both my teams to the dance. And by both my teams, I mean one team I bet on and my actual rooting favorite team. The Heat have already done something amazing that I didn't think they'd get this far. The fact that they made it to the finals again, even with the struggling season they had, just shows something they got with their culture, man. They got something brewing down there that I think it's going to be awesome to see the free agent destination now. Especially if they ever win a title, more people might want to play with Jimmy, but title or not, I think more people are going to want to play. Tyler Hero, speaking of people playing, Hero might be back for Game 3. Huge news. It'd be awesome to get him back off the bench and add some bench depth to him, especially if he's able to be healthy and play. But overall, man, yeah, I'm excited. Game 1 is on Thursday, so I'm going to quit talking about me NBA. Cut off here. I'm going to spend a lot of time breaking down Game 1. I think the Heat are going to take it. Heat have taken Game 1 in every single series so far this playoffs. Why stop now, even if they don't take it? I'm going to bet on them to do it because, hey, history shows they have. But yeah, I'm probably going to end it there. Very awesome series because they blew them out. And again, I want to apologize for no shows last week. Everything's taken care of. We should be back on a normal schedule, so I will for sure have a show Thursday. And yeah, we're going to get some NFL action now. I think, yet again, shout out to Miami Heat. Shout out those of you who rode along as well with my futures and were able to get some futures at decent odds as well if you did. If not, hey, let's continue the ride. We got a few more games left. June 18th is the last day for sure for the NBA Game 7. So, I mean, hey, we are, I think, 1 or 2 days away from June. Next time you see me, it will be June. Man, just crazy. NBA is almost over, and then once the NBA is over, before I get into this NFL news, man, my boy just posted this show. He's like, after a horrible rant about the performance the Celtics put up last night. Excuse me, I love it. Yeah, like I said, with NBA coming up slowly here soon, I'm not going to turn to a full, mainly baseball show. Once the NBA is over, it's going to be a lot of heavy football talk. I'm still going to talk about baseball, too, because it's in season, but most of the time I'm talking about baseball, it's probably going to be when my guy Rowan's on, because he knows a little bit more than me, so I want to get a guy who actually can give some decent insight inside there. But yeah, basically once the NBA finals are over, and once we hit June, it's going to be a lot of NFL, futures, NFL season. When we hit July, mid-July, it's going to be a lot of the NFL futures, a lot of the NFL season talk. June's just going to be a lot of the, hey, this is what we're thinking. I'm thinking maybe by second or third week of June, I might be starting the breakdowns of the divisions and the teams and everything. But we'll see 100% sure. I don't want to jump the gun too early. We're going to look around and make sure everything's good, timing-wise and everything. Because, like I said, I don't want to do it too early, but I also don't want to do it too late. So, also, before we get in the NFL, shout out the Vegas Golden Knights. 6-0 last night. Beat the absolute shit out of the Stars. The Knights win the series 4-2, and now they're going to the Stanley Cup playoffs to play against the Florida Panthers. So, hey, shout out to them. Awesome performance last night after they went up 3-0 as well. And, hey, let's begin. Garoppolo's contract has a waiver clause for injury. Ooh. He signed a 3-year, $72.75 million deal. Apparently, the initial contract reported included a $11.2 million signing bonus, along with a however, the Raiders removed the signing bonus due to Garoppolo's foot ailment, opting for a full $22.5 million base salary. So the Raiders project to start won't earn any of his salary unless he passes a physical exam. So they signed him, and apparently, since he's hurt, he got the surgery covered. Apparently, they're taking away the signing bonus, it sounds like, and they're going to make him prove that he can play, which makes sense. Just makes you wonder, why'd they even get him if he was just going to be... I wonder if it's, like, not too bad then. It just makes you wonder, like, why'd they not know beforehand? Like, do you think... Like, why even sign him if he's hurt? Like, what? Obviously, there's a reason they signed him. I just wonder why it is, if they knew he was hurt before him. If they didn't know he was hurt before him, how do you let that slip? All these years later, Le'Veon Bell admits to being petty in his contract dispute with the Steelers. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. He kind of fought for the money, ended up getting the money, and then ended up not doing anything with it. And he kind of, I don't want to say he ruined it for other running backs, but now anytime a running back like tries to hold, first off, anytime there's a holdout deal, they're like, hey, look what Le'Veon Bell did. Hey, look what Le'Veon Bell did. So that's what he has, but then also too, like, yeah, he has a bad history of just like he sat out the year, got the money, and then he just played awful and ended up out the league. So it's just that. That was just a rough time for him when that happened. But like I said, he admitted that he was petty in the contracts, and he basically just said, I didn't want to leave Pittsburgh because at the end of the day, that's where I was at. He's like, yeah, I was a little petty, the little guaranteed stuff. So basically, you could come in all these years and guaranteed was the issues. I wish he would have stayed with Pittsburgh. I felt like that was a really good just fit for him, because he went to the Jets and it just became nothing. Buda Baker said he'll join the Cardinals when it's time to be there. And he still hasn't been around the team since he requested a trade, but the Cardinals are just a mess, man. The Cardinals are just a super, super mess right now. Their over-under win total is 4. I mean, this team was just an 11-win team that started the season 7-0 2 years ago. Like, it's just crazy how far they've fallen. So, I mean, man, it's crazy how far they've fallen. Will Ferrell apparently is in talks to play John Madden in a new film. Hey, that's not too bad. That would be very, very interesting to see. Sorry, the next thing I read right after was Eagles Kelsey anti-Thursday Night Football players are just looking to make headlines. And then they basically were said, and this came out because he said they was all for it. So this is what he said in this podcast. He says, I'm all for the games being played on Thursdays because that means we have walkthroughs during the middle of the week and we don't practice and we just get 3 days off before the game. So basically what Kelsey's coming out and saying is like, hey, I don't mind us getting flexed into Thursday because that makes our practice week a little bit easier on the bodies and everything with Tay. I will admit, them playing the game sooner and having a little less recovery time, yes, that is a part of it that's come out and everything, but he has a point, like on the back end, like, hey, the coaches aren't going to push them too hard. The coaches are probably going to try to get their players healthy. Like, there's certain players who are a little banged up. It's like, hey, you aren't even practicing this week. Like, we'll get you on Thursday. Like, that's going to be interesting. I am excited, though, for the flexing of the Thursday night games. I'm interested to see on how it's going to look, man. Like, it's going to be, like, we have Steelers-Patriots down the road, and it's like, oh, let's put in something nicer. Like, I'm just interested to see what games actually, like, get flexed out and what it takes to get flexed out. Because I just wonder... I just wonder how the flexion is going to work. John Gruden apparently is helping Carr and the Saints install a new offense, which they need. If you watched their offense last year, it was terrible. DeAndre Hopkins was released after they failed to find a trade partner, and he's just out there right now, and there's nobody. According to this, Kansas City is a good place for him. Buffalo, Cleveland, the Giants, and the Jets are all 3 good. Apparently, those are the 5 good places for him. I feel like he came out earlier. I haven't seen the video. Or if I did, it's been a quick minute. But he came out and basically said like he wants like Josh Allen stuff like he didn't take a shot at Kyler, but he wants a quarterback basically that's like prepping, and he wants a quarterback that's prepping, going at the game right, doing all this, and he basically wants a functional front office that's not just imploding all the time, which makes sense. So. Apparently, Devontae Adams and Raiders Chiefs are facing lawsuits over wide receivers post-game shove. So, oh my gosh. Kind of. I mean, I kind of soft for suing him for a shove, but I guess I get it. Apparently, Lyons Williams wasn't aware of the gambling rules, which makes sense. Like I told you, I would assume they knew not to gamble on themselves. But I wonder if they even said something about gambling in the facility. They probably didn't even think about it, or if they did, I wonder if he wasn't there to listen to it, because it's one of the things, like, if they just didn't know to gamble in the facility, like, that's a simple fix now that, oh, hey, they're not going to do it anymore. Which makes sense, and also why he's only suspended 6 games, because it's like, he didn't bet on the sport, he just bet in the building, which is kind of dumb. Darren Waller apparently loves the Giants culture and saying like they value their opinions and everything, which is awesome. It sounds like the Raiders were not very open to what Darren Waller was saying. He already came out and said he didn't like some stuff Josh McDaniels was doing. He already had a beef with Josh McDaniels anyway, so not very shocking that he's coming out saying positive things about the new place, because yeah, he does not get along with this guy at the other place. Colt said Coach Shane Steichen said that Richardson is some showing some next level stuff, which is awesome to see. They're not going to talk bad about their guy at all, ever, but it's really awesome to hear that there's good stuff coming out of camp for Anthony Richardson. I'm very excited to see how he does as a Colts quarterback, because, man, yeah, after the quarterback play the last few years, honestly, knock on wood, can't get much worse. Last year was pretty bad, so it's nice to just have a new quarterback to see what he does, man. See what the young kid does. Metcalf said he's trying to set up a race versus Tyreek Hill for 2 years. I'm actually kind of interested to see that. I would like to see he was a little bit faster. That's all. The only reason I really brought it up is I don't think it would happen because they don't want to risk getting hurt or something. But I'd be interested to see that race. I think it'd be kind of cool. The Jaguars are signing McManus after the Broncos released him. I was shocked the Broncos released him in the first place. He was the last person on the team who won the Super Bowl for the Broncos from their Super Bowl 50 team. I just don't get it. Honestly, I wonder why. I mean, maybe because he's a little older. They're talking like that is true. How he is getting a little older, and yes, it is Mile High, so they can maybe think of a younger guy who can kick it a little farther. Maybe that'd be my guess is why they did it, but we'll have to see. The Patriots lose 2 days of OTAs for violating their offseason rules. They just did something to lose OTAs. I don't think they really care. It's the Patriots. They'll find a way to get around it. Montgomery's excited by the fresh start with the Lions. He said he was used to losing in Chicago, which I don't blame him. I'm not going to say Chicago's a losing culture, but they just have not been. They were good my freshman and sophomore year in high school, in college. And I think it was either my freshman year or sophomore year, whichever year. One of those 2 years was a double doink, and then the next year they made the playoffs, but I think it didn't do much. And then past that, yeah, they just didn't do anything. Basically, they've just been bad since then now, and it's just, they kind of wasted a really good defense with a mediocre offense. You hate to see that. Because I thought the Bears actually had a decent chance. And Aaron Rodgers just ran their division, so they just, never had a chance. So, yeah, I mean, good for David Montgomery to move teams if he feels like... Because the losing can get to you for sure. If you lose, all the time and you're just used to it, it just becomes so normal that you're going to be able to enjoy winning, so hopefully he's able to enjoy winning. I am very curious to see how the Bears do this year, though. Everyone's talking about how good Justin Fields is. I want to see him throw the ball, because he's going to have to throw the ball. The stat that everyone's throwing out there is they threw it less to the Colts when they were losing, and the Colts had 4, and they were behind just as much as the Colts. It's like they got to, or maybe even double the Colts. They got to do better. Speaking of flag football, that's what Andy Reid said about this new kickoff rule. I don't know if I've touched on it on my show, and I never will. They basically, Roger Goodell forced the committee. By forced the committee, they already voted on not to make this a rule, and then he pushed it through again. So they're going to add fair catches for the kickoff. It's not going to affect too much because most of the kickers can kick it out the end zone, but there's going to be one Bush League thing where the guy, fair catches it at, the 15. And usually, for most part, you see a fair catch at the 15. It's like, oh, they're going to get the ball at the 15. And nope, they're going to get the ball at the 25. Or he's going to fair catch it at, the 2. Just because he doesn't want to return it. And it's going to go to the 25. It's just, I don't like that. I think that's a dumb rule. I just truly do not like that rule at all. The Jets ended up working out Matt Araiza last week. I don't know if they ended up signing him. I don't think they did. But they at least worked him out. So it's nice to see that he's at least getting a chance now. Because I think more teams are going to work him out now the Jets are showing it. The Ravens' offense under Monken looks tremendous, according to Lamar, which is awesome. They need a new offense as well. Their offense has been slowly just going down the hill ever since Lamar's MVP season. So I'm excited to see how they look different this year, especially with OBJ. Maybe they get DeAndre Hopkins. Lamar did say he wanted Odell and D-Hop, and D-Hop's now free. The Steelers signed Marcus Golden to a 1-year contract. It's gonna be interesting to see. They just add some more depth. Chase Young, the Commanders don't. They declined his 5th-year option, which I'm excited. I'm interested to see what happens with Chase Young now. It's just sad for him, man, that he has to deal with the injury and everything. It's kind of put a halt in his career. He was so talented and everything. So hopefully he's able to come back and do something. Carr says the Saints have rejuvenated him. We'll just see how it goes. I just don't think Carr is going to be anything too special. I think he's going to be just about what he did at the Raiders. Maybe have a little bit of a better defense. But I hate to say it, but this is why we've seen 8 years of Derek Carr. It's probably not been 8 years, but we've seen enough years. I've seen enough years of Derek Carr between Las Vegas and Oakland where I just don't know how much better he can get. Even if you add pieces around him, I just don't know how much I can change him. So we'll just have to see. Allen said he's focused on bringing a Lombardi trophy to Buffalo. Just understanding our window, and I want to give everything that I have as long as I can play. I feel like the window is I feel like they're already towards more closer to the end of their window than the beginning, and that's just because these last 2 or 3 years, man, with the close losses they had, it's man, this was probably supposed to be your year, man. That just I don't know, they could still have a lot longer window. It just feels like they probably should have got one of these last 2 years. Adrian Peterson has not announced his retirement yet either, by the way. Apparently he said he's still ready to play. Mentally, I haven't officially hung it up yet. We'll see what happens. My mindset is if God's willing, maybe an opportunity will present itself, and maybe it happens this season. I'll go from there. But if nothing happens this season, for sure, I will be hanging it up. Oh, okay. So this is going to be Adrian Peterson's last season. Hopefully somebody signed him. I'd be awesome if the Vikings signed him just for a few games maybe. They're probably not going to keep Dalvin Cook, and they're going with Alexander Madison. They already have Madison on some of their promos, on some of their posters and everything. So getting AP back would be pretty awesome. We're waiting for the Commanders' sale to be approved still. Goodell expected to be approved. That's all we basically need to know about that. 49ers are optimistic Purdy will be healthy to start the season opener. We'll have to see. Von Miller comes out and he says he's going to play by at least week 6 as he recovers from a torn ACL, so he should be good to come back this season. That's awesome to hear. Kenny Pickett came out and he said there's no hard feelings between him and Roethlisberger, which, hey, that's awesome to see because usually there's guys. Steve Van Gundy? Or Jeff Van? I forget. I always get the Van Gundys messed up, but the announcer from one of the Heat games was talking about how Tyler Hero, he said something about how Tyler Hero, I forget what he said exactly, but I'm gonna give me a second to look this up. I don't want to butcher this quote. Oh, Stan. I don't know why I said Steve. I always mess up the I always mess up the Van Gundys. I don't understand why I always do that. Oh yeah, he was talking about Tyler Hero, when I forget what he said. He said something about he's talking about sideline fashion as a joke and everything, and he's been going on him all serious. And Tyler Hero came out and said, Stan Van Gundy said, the number one reason the Heat need Tyler Hero back because his fashion is so bad on the bench. We need to see him in uniform. And then Tyler Hero came out and said, my fashion is as bad as you are on the sideline as a sideline coach and everything. And then Van Gundy, this is what I liked from Van Gundy, came out and said, some of us are a little too soft and some of us don't take ourselves too seriously, and they're able to laugh about it, which is a very good point. That's what I was going to leave to Kenny Pickett. I like that Kenny Pickett basically be able to kind of quote unquote laugh at this. Kind of be he has a right to be that opinion because, hey, not everyone's going to love you. That's one of those things that some people just need to learn. It's not everybody's going to love you, so sometimes it's hey, I just got to deal with it. For Kenny's sake, hey, the guy was very critical of him at first, and then eventually came out and said, hey, I ended up loving the guy. So it's one of those things. Excuse me, my lord. It's just one of those things where it's hey, not everyone's going to love you, so it's kind of cool that Kenny's just hey, I respect him for coming out and admitting that, and now that. And hey, like I said, Ben Roethlisberger's behind him now, so I'm interested to see how they do. Stroud is ready to compete for the Texans starting quarterback job. He's probably going to start. Rodgers strained his calf. It's not too serious, but he did strain it, so it's just something to worry about. Eckler agrees to an additional $1.75 million incentives with the Chargers. The Green Bay is going to host the 2025 draft. And that's about where it ends for today. Yeah, I'll probably just end it there. I thought that was some news that just popped up. That's a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, I think that's about where we're going to today. I'll talk about the Heat a lot at the beginning of the show. Got a lot of NFL news. There was a week's worth of NFL news I didn't read. Thursday, it's going to be a lot of Game 1 talk for the Nuggets and Heat. A lot of Game 1 talk for Nuggets Heat. Probably touch on some MLB standings and stat leaders because it's jumbled around a little bit since the last time I read it. And then probably talk about some NFL news as well, maybe. Just a little bit of NFL stuff. I'm probably going to save my NFL stories now and everything for the Thursday's episodes. I'm probably going to save those for another week or two now. I'm going to wait for the NBA to be over and it's just like baseball season and football to talk about it, just so I can give the NBA some more light on Thursdays. Especially too, because I talked about it a lot today, but that's just because I didn't talk about it last Thursday. But yeah, overall, I hope Thursdays will probably turn into NBA basketball to the end of the season, which is only 2 or 3 more weeks. But hey, hopefully the Heat win a championship. But yeah, I'm gonna have to update some of my futures because I ended up cashing some of those. But yeah, thanks again everybody for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed, and I will see everybody again on Thursday's episode, where we will be talking about, like I said, Game 1, Heat Nuggets, some NFL news if there's anything big that comes out, MLB standings and stat leaders. Thanks again everybody for watching, and I will see everybody on Thursday.